And a very warm welcome back to today's edition of Face to Face. I'm with the business guru and the motivational speaker, Roger Harrop, who's been up in his helicopter, giving us a view from the helicopter of what businesses should be doing and not doing. We talked a little bit about the necessity for HR people to be ferreting out good people, but there's a terrible skills shortage right now here in the Middle East. How, as a CEO, as an HR person, do you deal with that?
It's not easy. Of course it's not easy, John, but I think, again, these answers sound fairly trite, but you've got to value people, that's the first thing. I think you've got to put a great deal of effort into recruiting people. And what I find is that often managers, CEOs, directors, they're so busy, they leave the recruiting to HR or to somebody else. But if you're recruiting someone, I think you should put a lot of time and effort into that, into getting that right person, and also selling to that person. Here in the Middle East, it's now a seller's market. That's never applied before in my memory. So you've now got to sell your business to the potential candidate. You've got to persuade them that yours is a very good place to work and somewhere that they ought to join. So there's a big onus on you as the manager, as the director, as the CEO.
The problem is that all well and good, but from day 2, you might revert to your bad old habits and ignore the person.
Well, don't. That's all I can say. Don't. I think it's a very important part of your job. If you're running a business, it is increasingly an increasingly important part of what you're doing is people, looking after people, recruiting people, career development, all those sorts of things are vitally important.
Somebody once said to me in my business career, John, it ain't rocket science. And I think you adhere to those principles too, don't you? It's kind of keep it simple, stupid.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I actually believe business is really simple. It's just us lot. It's us human beings that make it complex, you know. I mean, at the end of the day, someone's got something to sell, somebody wants to buy, and maybe someone has to make something. That's all it is, isn't it?
Well, it seems that that's probably right. And also, it's about making the P word, profits.
Yes.
Because that somehow is a dirty word in some circles. Why?
Oh, I don't know, John. I do some work, I've done some work with not-for-profit organisations, charities, and the problem I have there, inevitably, I was thinking last year I was working with, I think it was the 19 trustees of a charity there, and there were people there who went out with collecting boxes. And they get really concerned with the whole concept of making profit. Now, this particular charity, without going into too much detail, because of changes in legislation, had the opportunity to be 5 times larger than it was. It ought to be 5 times larger. But the only way you grow, of course, is by making profit and reinvesting. That's the only way to do it. The collecting boxes help, but basically it needed to make profit. And it took something like a day and a half with these 19 trustees to get that message through, that this business, because that's what it is, had to generate profit in order to grow the business and then provide even better services to their users. It is difficult, but all businesses, in my view, need sustained, profitable growth. That's what they need to grow and develop.
And one of your theories is a very simple one, isn't it? Where you suggest to CEOs that they should simply put their prices up. Well, and a lot of people don't do it. They don't do it often enough because they're worried that their product isn't going to sell.
Yeah.
But you found that by putting the percentage points up just a couple of points, maybe more than a few points, it's got no real effect.
Well, I think there's a few dynamics there. I mean, the first thing is, and again, very relevant to what I see here now in the Middle East, is inflation is going ahead a bit here. I think it's even greater than perhaps the official figures. And you see, I have the benefit of remembering a period in my past where we had to put up prices 2% per month for a period of 18 months. And you don't forget something like that. So the first thing to say is, where you've got inflation, you have just got to reflect that in the prices you charge your customers. There's no choice, because the only alternative is your margins go down, your profits go down. That's the first thing. But the second thing is, another dynamic that I see out there now is that no businesses are mediocre anymore. You know, if you're mediocre, you're dead these days. And that probably means you're very good at what you do. And if you are very good at what you do, what I say to people in my workshops is, you deserve higher prices. It's in here, you know. You deserve
don't undervalue yourself.
And a lot of people do that. I think particularly owner-managers, they do tend to undervalue the business they do, the work they do.
So it's an SME disease, is it?
Not just. I think it goes all the way through as well, even on big businesses. Big businesses sometimes get into a process. The process you go through is this, and you end up putting up prices, or you don't put up your prices. It's all, and it's all formulaic, whereas in fact what I'm saying is you've got to be aware of the market out there, be aware of the opportunities. Equally, I think, and this leads me on to another subject, if I may, which is, I talked about this hyper-growth that's going on here in the Middle East in particular. And I see that as a big opportunity for businesses. And it's actually an opportunity to start saying no to customers. It's an opportunity to start making sure that you've got customers who do pay you on time, who aren't asking for massive discounts for no reason. So actually, that's price increases as well. You may have some customers out there who actually are very difficult to handle. They are costing you money to handle. Maybe you put up their prices differentially to the others.
So you price yourself out of the market?
No, you don't. No, you don't. Because you've got a whole group of customers there that are incredibly loyal to you, where hopefully because of the work you have done, the price decision is like number 2, number 3, number 4 in the price decision, in the decision-making process. All I'm saying is you need to be aware of your customer base and try and ensure at all times that you've got customers that you want, that are giving you the returns that you want.
I think another of your pet theorems is the idea that you lose business simply because you're not paying attention to existing customers.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I see, when you look at just about any company, the effort they put into getting a new customer, and it's a massive amount of effort. They might be doing market research, they then might be targeting that customer. One of these statistics, and I don't know quite where some of these come from, is that people, a potential new customer says no 9 times before they say yes. Assuming that's true, it's a tremendous amount of effort you put in. And then I find companies, and let me give you an example. I was last year working with a £200 million, 1.2 billion dirham company. And I was talking to their main board, and I asked them a question. I better not say too much about who they are, but I said they never used to be a commercial company. They used to be partly state-controlled. And I said, so how long is it now? If someone chooses not to buy your product, but to buy a competitor's product, how long is it before you know you've lost them as a customer? And the sales and marketing director said to me, oh, Roger, that would be probably maybe 2.5 years. And I couldn't believe it. You have got to know within days or hours when you've lost a customer. Just think of all that effort you've put into getting them. How dare you lose them that easily? And of course, again, it's so much easier to get back a customer you've lost, for whatever reason, than to go out and get a new one. Because they used to love you. Maybe they don't anymore, but they still it must be easier to get them back than to go and get a new one. But it isn't the way salespeople are trained. It isn't the way we naturally think, I don't think. When we're looking to grow sales, we go out like, if I may, headless chickens looking for new customers. That's the first reaction that we have.
All right. Well, Roger, we'll hear more about your prescriptions for good business practice after we take another short break.